Hello and welcome to a sixth instalment of the Charge Attack podcast. I'm here with Luke again.
Hello.
And I'm Ben. And there's been a few things this week, nothing too massive and major, just a couple of little updates. And we have also got a couple of new releases which we'll start off on. First of all, this Friday, which is the 26th of April, we've got Super Meat Boy Forever coming up, which is a sequel actually to Super Meat Boy 1. You've got a child in it.
That's what that game needed, isn't it? A child.
Yeah, a child. The child's called Nugget.
I mean, it makes sense.
It makes sense. And for the first time in Super Meat Boy, you can actually attack, dive, and slide in it. And this is off the official website. They say that you now have to use 2 buttons rather than 1, which is not too big of a difference, but obviously considering
it's literally doubled their gameplay.
Yeah, it's doubled the amount of like the difficulty and whatnot. They say it's not going to take too much away from it. It's still going to be fast paced and whatnot, which is great. Did you ever play any of the original Super Meat Boys?
Yeah, we played at your house for hours, remember? And we didn't get very far.
Yeah, we're not very good at that sort of game. I mean, persistence is definitely key. And this is coming out to all of the consoles as well, which is obviously great. The only issue that does come along with it is that it's coming first of all to Epic Game Store.
Oh,
they've stricken again. Is it stricken or stroke?
Struck again.
Struck. There we go. Right, they've struck again. Which is, I mean, it's one of those things. They keep buying all of the rights to these games. They've got Borderlands 3 and everything. So they are making quite an impact, and it is, tell you what, that is definitely, that to me is saying get over to the Epic Game Store. It's bringing the attention to it. I mean, if they want to compete against Steam, I would definitely say that they need to do stuff like this at the very start, because otherwise who on earth is going to go over
definitely gone in with a few hard-hitting games so far.
Yeah,
Borderlands 3 being the main one, and this for all the smaller games. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they get next. What they're going to nick from Steam first.
So but Steam will eventually get this game, which will be released in 2020 for them. So
I mean, bored of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. I see so much on the internet of people saying that they're going to pirate the games that they can't get on the Steam store, which seems a little bit far-fetched to me. But I mean, well, it depends on what you want out of it. Like, I can't ever see, like, because it's all on your PC, you don't have to, like, you're just downloading a different app store. I know we've spoken about this before.
It's not really brand loyalty, is it? Like, It's not the same as the trouble between Asda and Tesco. You get in the game regardless.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously this matters to a lot of people. There are obviously certain aspects that Steam do offer better, and like, I guess if you are a loyal fan and you do love Steam, then obviously you'll want to continue to use it as much as possible. But in this case, if you want to continue to use it as much as possible, you're gonna have to wait a year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, which is a bit of a shame for some people, but that game's not like a absolutely colossally massive game. It's still a really unique and good selling point, and if it's what Epic Game Store feels as though they can get a lot of attention and profit from, then you can't really blame them. I mean, give it another 6 months or give it another year. If more and more and more games start going exclusively to the Epic Game Store or first to the Epic Game Store, then it is gonna draw quite a crowd in, and they are gonna start to do well. And the thing is, Steam is so good and offers such a great connectivity to the players that it's going to be hard to bring up a challenger. But having a challenger isn't necessarily a bad thing. Is it? What it might do is it might make Steam want to do better.
Yeah, adapt.
Yeah.
Offer something different and new.
Yeah, exactly. The other good game that we've got coming out this Friday is Days Gone. Finally.
There's been so much build up to that game. It's finally here.
Yeah, so it's not quite as much hype, obviously, with compared to Last of Us Part 2, but again, another what is looking to be an incredible PlayStation exclusive again. It should be quite good. What are you thinking about it?
It looks really good. The gameplay I've seen about it and the mechanics that they've introduced so far look very interesting. They're doing it in a slightly different way than other games have done before.
Yeah.
You've got the whole, obviously, zombie horde freaks aspect.
Yeah.
But it's very much not a case of you're just gunning them down and that's it. It's you feel a lot more involved. Like, you make a wrong move, you're going to get up. So it'd be really good to get into that new mechanic.
Yeah, what's quite nice about this is that, like you were saying, there has been quite a lot of build up to this, but they haven't spoiled too much, which I'm really liking. They haven't shown too much, haven't shown everything that's capable and whatnot. It's letting you use your imagination, and
they've proper teased you with it, and
Yeah.
just kept you hooked while they've been finishing it off.
yeah, and being a PlayStation exclusive and one of their first party games, and you can know that they're going to be keeping a close eye on making sure that this is a good product, which I reckon it'll be up there near the 9s sort of thing. It may not be my style of game, but it's definitely looking
well
like
done game,
yeah,
yeah.
looking like a really good contender for potentially even Game of the Year. Obviously it's like all open world and whatnot. When I was watching some of the footage, the things that like came to my mind is sort of like a bit of a blend between Horizon Zero Dawn and Last of Us.
Yes.
Just with obviously like the zombies sort of like, or freakers as they're called in this sort of approach to it. The open worldness made me think of Horizon, how lovely it looks. In an easiest way to compare it, I would say if you liked Horizon but you weren't that big of a dinosaur fan or a robot fan, you're more of a zombie person, then Days Gone would be the game for you.
It's interesting as well because I said with the whole aspect of the game looking nice, this is the first sort of real zombie game I can think of that's not been focused in a city or some sort of built up area. It's very sort of forest sort of driven. And mills and things. And I can't think of many games that have done that.
Yeah, it's going to be good to see if they expand it over like lots of different regions and areas. I'm sure there will be like city areas and those sorts of things.
A lot of what we've seen has been very outdoorsy sort of areas, and so which I think could be added an interesting dynamic to the game.
Yeah, they've kept like the traditional like weapon degradation in it, and made sure that obviously it's still got a bit of a feel of zombies. The zombies that like the freakers that I have seen that like you fight when you're fighting them just individually, they're not complete pushovers, sort of like one shots to the head sort of thing. It is a little bit more in depth than that, which is quite cool. They seem to be going in the right direction with it, and this is all just from visual stuff. Like the main point of which I would want to go into this game, and knowing what PlayStation is like, is story. So it is quite interesting to see where they're going to go with the story. Will it even surmount to anything near what The Last of Us has created, and how it's created this incredible storyline that people just wanted and needed more to it, sort of thing. It's going to be incredible to see what they can do with that. And thankfully there is DLC coming to this as well, which got announced, which is coming out in June.
So not too long to wait from the release.
No. And it's also free, which is the best thing about the best kind of
I was
DLC
gonna
is
say.
free DLC. And what this DLC apparently is going to contain is basically a survivor mode. So basically make the game harder. There's no fast traveling. You won't be able to use a survivor instinct, which apparently is what helps you locate certain items or items you can use to your advantage. So obviously you'd have to remember things, or you'd be, obviously, I hate to say it, but you'd be more of a survivor and like somebody struggling to survive. And then obviously makes it more difficult, so you take more damage, weapons degrade faster, the usual sorts of things.
A more
that you'd
realistic sort of sense, really, potentially.
Yeah. So we've got this game on pre-order, so it will come through, and we can talk more about it next week. But it's looking, fingers crossed, especially compared to World War Z, which we were a little bit disappointed with.
Yeah, a lot of people have, despite it selling quite well, I think a lot of people have realised that it's
a little bit
much.
broken. I mean, like we played a little bit of the online, the multiplayer of World War Z, and it was just this
The
broken
leveling
system.
It's ridiculous.
Where it was like, it was confusing, and then two is just sort of, if you go against somebody that has played it a lot more than you, if you were to pick it up even now and you get put against somebody that's a much higher level than you, they will have so much more an advantage. And it's not even like a small tiny this recharges a little bit quicker, or this does this. It is big big advantages.
To the point where you physically can't damage some of the higher players, like we've seen. Whether that was just lag, but we've definitely seen it where some people just were not taking damage, and
there were
much higher level.
There were some funny moments in it as well, where like you can tell that like it is a very pretty game, but like we're seeing so many visual like glitches, and
the zombies
problems.
weren't running properly. They were just moving. They were like in a running stance, but then just sliding across. It's like, is that just to save on load times or what? But
so I remember that on like one of the multiplayer maps when like the hordes, they run through the middle of the map and whatnot, and then like, and you just see, like every so often you just see just one zombie just in the same as you, where they're just in a running stance, where like almost like a cactuar from Final Fantasy, just sliding along the ground.
It's not even interacting with the players. It is just gunning for the exit. Like it's just like
it just comes straight into the map.
It's just a prop.
Just disappeared. It's so weird. But I mean, if you were disappointed with World War Z and you do love your zombies or freakers in this sense, Days Gone may be more suited for you. I'm really hoping that is something special.
I think it's going to be a good game. We're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, that is definitely something to look forward to. And those two games are both coming out this Friday. But moving on, another game that recently came out, or is coming out, is Mortal Kombat 11. I was going to call it 6 then. Mortal Kombat 11, which we've spoken about a couple of times before.
Yeah, but just interesting news recently came out, which shocked us a bit.
It's I think a lot of places are all talking about this, and no doubt will be for a little while, and it will be used as a staple for what games industries are doing now to get as much money from each individual player as possible.
This definitely
has taken a very strong
bank
case.
Account.
So Mortal Kombat 11, obviously you fight each other. Obviously, if you're having two Scorpios fighting each other, one's going to be blue, one's going to be yellow. They look a little bit different. However, there are skins you can buy, extra DLC skins, and there is a lot.
It's actual madness. I appreciate also that they need to have a wide range of skins to keep people entertained and going back to their characters.
Yeah.
But when they announce the amount of skins that we're looking at, and if you were to buy them...
So how many skins was it per character? Wasn't it 60?
I think it's 60 skins per character.
Yeah.
And there's at this kind of time about 26 characters confirmed.
Yeah, so obviously there will probably be more.
I expect so.
Coming to it, no doubt. That's just standard for those sorts of games. It's obviously there's loot boxes and whatnot in it as well. Which...
Yeah, you earn items somehow by playing the game.
Yeah.
And sort of grinding through it to get the in-game currency.
Yeah.
And things like that.
Yeah. So probably a lot of these. So when we're saying there's 60 skins per character, obviously some of them are going to be super exclusive, super expensive sort of ones, and you can play the game enough and grind enough so that you can unlock all of these skins. However, if you first of all just bought the game and straight out the box you wanted to get all the skins for all the characters and whatnot, it will cost you a whopping $6,440, which is quite a lot.
That is an inconceivable amount of money.
I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people out. I say plenty. There's probably quite a few people out there that have spent more than that just on loot boxes, but that is a lot.
I mean, I can physically imagine loading up that game, going to the in-game store, and just one transaction, $6,000. Not that I wouldn't work in dollars anyway, but I can't conceive anyone doing that for skins.
Yeah, I mean, like we were saying, like most of the cheaper ones and whatnot, then you could get your own way. So you probably save a couple of $100 there. But
in comparison,
I mean, it's more of a staple for what these games companies are capable of and how they're designing these games and creating these games, because they're sat there and just going, oh well, we can charge for this skin and this skin and this skin. Oh, just make 60 odd skins for each character and we'll charge for each individual one of them. I mean, if they can't they're saying $6,440. I haven't seen it personally, but is that just via the cash rewards that you get from the loot boxes? So can you buy the individual skins? Because I quite like the idea that, yeah, there are $6,440 worth of skins to buy in the game, but if there was only like 2 or 3 that you liked, then you could go, okay, I want to buy just that one. That's $10, and just that one, that's another $10. I prefer that to loot box buying, where you're just sort of like, you have to hope that you get the skin that you want.
The article I read is you buy the in-game currency,
Yeah.
so I assume then you can then pick a specific skin,
Yeah.
which would make more sense.
Yeah, so in a certain sense, like this is where it gets sort of like a little bit confusing and a little bit it conflicts a little bit, because whilst there is a lot of microtransactions and that's a lot of money to be asking from people if you want the full game experience and have absolutely everything in the game. However, for the most part, if there's only a couple of exclusive skins that you want, I prefer the idea that they're saying, look, here's everything we've got to offer. You can buy individual ones for so and so much money. Everybody then is a little bit, everyone's happier.
Yeah.
The more common people are happier, because people like me who doesn't have a lot of money can then go, okay, I want to get this specific skin, rather than saying, this is what puts me off loot boxes in the first place, is if there's a skin I really want and I have to get it from a loot box, I just look at it and just go, well, I'm never going to get it from the loot box, so why am I going to bother putting my money in? Especially when it's like loads of loot boxes, for whatever reason nowadays, they cost like £2 per loot box, and you get 3 items in it. And if there's about 1,000 items, and there's only one of those items that I want, that's blooming 300 loot boxes.
You'll get that one last, won't you?
That's 300 quid. It's always the same, isn't it? So, I mean, yes.
At least it's not loot boxes that you buy, if that is the case, but it's still an inconceivable amount of money for skins. Which is effectively rinse and repeat content once you've made it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there is a lot of professional, or it's got a bit of an esports to it, Mortal Kombat, where like loads of people play it competitively, and I'm sure a lot of people will play this for long periods of time. I can't imagine anybody playing it for long enough so that they unlock all of these skins legitimately.
But who's going to need 60 skins of every character? You're not going to... How are you going to pick unless you use one specific one that's like, if they tier base
I bet you, I tell you what, I bet you most people that unlock, when you've unlocked most of the character skins, you just sit it on random. And, then by that point, you don't really give a crap about what your skin looks like.
And how often are you looking at your own character anyway?
Yeah, you're too busy. I mean, even the high-end people that play it really well, they're constantly watching the opposite person's character to, so
you're basically making yourself look good for someone else to enjoy. Wonderful.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, there's nothing too much more to it than that. It's not my cup of tea. I'm not a big microtransaction fan, so it never would be in the first place, but I'm more supportive of the idea.
This is better than loot boxes.
This is better than just buying straight up loot boxes. In other news, Sega Mini Drive. I think it's called Sega Mini Drive.
Sega Drive Mini.
Yeah.
Like that. The
Sega Mega Drive was the original, so Mini Drive would make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll call it that. So Sega Mini Drive, which is basically Sega's version of the SNES Classic, PlayStation Classic, NES Classic.
This is my original console, so I'm proper excited about this.
Have you played most of the games that are on this list?
I've only played a
select few.
Well, I was about 4 when I had my Sega Mega Drive, so
Lord.
I played Sonic.
Yeah.
I played RoboCop.
Right.
And some other little racing game.
Right. Okay. So obviously, they've announced a few games to it. What's weird though is that they are having, what is it? They're having different games on the Japanese version.
Yeah,
compared to the American, and I'm guessing European version will probably get the same as America. So it's sort of like a Western and an Eastern. The Eastern version of the Sega Mini Drive will have a few different games to the Western version.
Yes.
That sounded formal.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
In a nutshell, the Japanese are getting a lot more Japanese games with theirs.
Yeah.
So
they haven't announced the full game roster yet.
No, they said they'll be releasing more at a later date.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll leave a link in the description below that you can follow, so you can have a look at what games have been announced so far.
40 pre-installed games.
Is that what they're going to announce? That's
what they've announced. 40 games.
40 names. So that's pretty good. How well do you think this is going to go?
I think it's going to do quite well because we haven't had anything from Sega in
Anything?
console-wise
Yeah.
in ages, and there's going to be some retro players out there who just want to get back to their old games.
How many people do you know that used to own a Sega?
Well, me and my uncle.
Right, you and your uncle. How many other people?
That
I've
was it.
never owned one.
But
I don't know anybody that's ever owned one.
By the time I said probably got into gaming on consoles, I was then up onto the PS1.
I was going to say
so
we're a different generation.
Yeah,
I can
it's
appreciate that.
definitely going to appeal to maybe to a slightly older market.
Yeah.
For their games who were gaming before our time, shall we say?
I mean, like, it's got Sonic 1. Has it got Sonic 2 on it as well, hasn't it?
Sonic, Sonic 1 and 2 are on it, but they differ slightly between the two regions, yeah.
Yeah, which is... So, I think just having Sonic on there, sort of like the classic original experience, that will draw a load of people in.
Yeah, the Sonic fanboys will be back on it again.
Yeah, which is quite cool.
Yep.
That's quite good. That's a good way to put it out there. A lot of the other games, when we were going through the list, a lot of them I was looking at just sort of like, yeah, I've heard of you, but not heard sort of go out of your way to go and play me sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think this is going to be one of those things. I think for me, it's not going to be an immediate pickup. It'd be good to see what else they announce to it and
I'd like
see
to
what
try
else.
some of the games first.
Yeah, it's like I got the NES Classic and games on there that like they stand out to me, and I'm just like, oh yeah, I really want to play those again, and I'd really like to play that and see how this plays and whatnot, which is really cool. And Sega have that on a few of their games, but I'm not noticing anything as strong, so it's not making me as immediately want to go out and purchase it.
Yeah. For what it cost, it's not going to... You need to do a little bit of looking into it first.
Yeah, I mean, it's still good in the sense that you get 40 games.
Yeah.
So it is retailing at approximately £69.99, which is £70, which in American dollars will probably end up being about $80, I would have thought, for them. And then plus taxes and whatnot for them. So that's pretty cool. It's quite relatively good, and it's bringing older games back to a modern time.
Yeah.
So it gives people that ability to play them, even if it's their first time, or if it's going to be the nostalgia hits them and they want to play them again. Either way, it's bringing them forward into the modern world, so we still have an ability to play these games regardless of the fact that they stopped being made quite a while ago.
Support 720 resolution, so they're bringing it back again, so it's nice to see they're not just sort of dropping off and falling out of rotation.
Yeah. Other news to do with Japan is the Nintendo Switch. Sales have now actually surpassed the Nintendo 64.
I remember my Nintendo 64. I love that console.
That was I would have thought the Nintendo 64 would have done better. So the numbers here are that the Nintendo 64 sold 32.93 million copies, okay, or consoles, I guess you'd call it, not units, that's it, not a copy. And then the Nintendo Switch has now just surpassed 33 million. Bearing in mind that obviously the Switch has only been out for a couple of years. The next console that is targeted from the Switch is the Xbox One, which is around about 40 million units. So it's fast approaching. That's obviously, this is all great news, especially just a couple of years down the line, especially with how badly the Wii U did. Yeah. The Switch is doing phenomenally well. Something else to take away from this though is that the Xbox One is coming to the end of its life cycle.
Yes, they've already released the middle version to go into the next stage.
I mean, they've pretty much all said that they're wanting to move on to the next Xbox. They're preparing for it. They're ready to combat Sony, because obviously Sony are wanting to get their next console out soon. Next year soon, sort of thing.
Which is pretty soon in terms of game console.
Yeah, whereas the Switch, you're still getting rumours so much at the moment about a potential Switch low-end budget version of a Switch. So it's just sort of like, it's almost like we're almost at the midway cycle for the Switch.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be a bit of a stretch. It'll probably last a couple more than 4 years. But that's quite interesting to see. if we've got still another 3-4 years of Switch sales, it's going to skyrocket past Xbox, I would have thought. Especially if they
Definitely.
keep throwing out all these amazing games. The moment you get something like Metroid Prime 4, which they keep teasing and talking about, the moment that gets a proper official announcement date, fingers crossed for E3, then once that happens, so many more Switches are going to sell. What has Xbox got at the moment?
The versatility of that console is what its main sort of flagship is.
Yeah.
That console has got something for everyone, regardless of the type of games that you play.
Yeah.
It can do it.
Yeah.
So every household almost needs one. If you're a family or a gaming household, you need a Switch.
Yeah, I was gonna say especially if you're a family, the way I'd look at it is I don't use my Switch as much as probably a normal family would be, because I've got a big TV. If I was gonna buy one of the big top end games, I'd put it on PlayStation or Xbox. I'll use it that way. That's because I'm not too much of a portable player. But like for a family, it's perfect because when everybody's at home, you can put it on the TV. Everybody can play a game. And then obviously when you're on the move, if you're the only gamer of the family, like person that wants to play it constantly, then obviously you can take it on the go. So, I mean, this is just, it's done well. It's like, it definitely deserves to be better than the N64. The N64, don't get me wrong, that was a very good staple for Nintendo, but I think that this is proving to be even better, and I think it deserves every single sale that it gets, because it's just going to do nothing but get better. Avengers is also now coming back to Fortnite. If you were somebody that played Fortnite approximately a year ago, I would have thought, actually.
Must be getting on now,
yeah. So approximately a year ago, the Infinity Gauntlet that Thanos uses in the film Infinity War was available in the game. When you picked it up, you turned into the big purple boy himself. And
dinosaur.
Yeah, and you you started running around the map, and you could like smash people up, do ground attacks and explosions and all of this and all of that, which is quite cool. But now what they're doing is they're showing a little bit of Endgame, so Avengers Endgame. They've shown in Fortnite something to do with Thor's battle axe, and what looks like in the image to me is it looks like Groot's arm holding it as well. Mm-hmm. So I've
seen Captain America's shield floating around as well.
So Captain America's shield as well. So possibility of skins, would you say?
The skins I've sort of been the generic characters with the shields. So
yeah.
I think it could be more equipment based again rather than skin based.
Yeah, I mean that would be really cool. I like the idea that they change it up, like the gameplay itself, to complement these movies. Obviously there'll be a massive payout and money going around that helps advertise these things. But like that is so cool that if you say, for example, are so interested in get Endgame, I mean it's like one of the hottest films right now. Everybody's wanting to go and see it because it's been built up for the past 20 odd years. I know it's not that long, but you know what I mean. And essentially, like Fortnite or Epic have then just gone, okay, what we'll do is we'll put what you're loving on your TV or in your cinema, and we'll make sure that you can play it in game. It's going to draw so many people back to Fortnite.
The two biggest things, isn't it?
Battle Royale and Marvel.
Exactly. I mean, Marvel pretty much is almost Battle Royale to a degree half the time, but you've also got Fortnite, one of the biggest games out there at the moment, and supporting one of the biggest films out there at the moment.
Yeah,
they're just cashing off each other almost.
Yeah, it's just going to just gains so much attention. I like the idea that essentially like Thor's axe that he uses is almost like what could be close enough to look like a pickaxe, so you could be using it as a pickaxe in the game when you're breaking down the walls and getting your supplies.
That would make it boring. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, I mean, what you want to see is you want to be able to find the actual axe, and you can just zoom up into the air and just rain lightning down on everybody around you. That's what you really want, but I don't think they're going to put that into it. No. I mean, I don't think it's going to be just cosmetic. I think it'll be further.
It's a utility item, which will make it a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
I reckon they'll do similar to what they did with the Infinity Gauntlet, but make it as put other items out there so that you feel like a little Avenger for 5 minutes while playing Fortnite.
Yeah, I mean, that's what everybody wants.
Yeah, kids love Fortnite. Kids love Marvel.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame them. I think even like all of my family members, even my father, loves the Marvel movies. They've got such a wide range of spectrum as to who they interest.
Yeah.
That it's just going to do nothing but draw more and more people to that game, which is absolutely perfect. But going off battle royales, another game has said that it's not going to launch with battle royales.
Thank the gods.
And what game is that?
Halo Infinite.
Or yeah, Halo 6, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
Not coming with battle royale, or not at launch anyway.
No, they have finally announced to the rumours that it will not be entertaining the idea of battle royale, which I am glad about. I couldn't even imagine how they would put battle royale into Halo.
Yeah.
And it would just feel like they're just doing it just to try and keep up with everyone else.
Yeah, which is essentially what they should never. For the major mascot for Xbox, one of the biggest mascots, they don't want to be just following trends. Mm-hmm. They need to, especially with the reception for Halo 5 was sort of a little bit mixed, I'm going to say. I think it was a relatively okay game and it was quite fun, but they made a couple of wrong changes.
Took a bit of time to settle with people, I think.
Yeah, so if they're bringing out Halo 6 and they're saying something like, we're not following the latest and biggest trend, like Call of Duty and Apex and Fortnite, and going with the flow of what everybody else wants because it makes them money, and they're going for, no, this is how Halo is and this is what Halo should be. I mean, they'll still have multiplayer. I'm hoping it'll have like couch co-op and whatnot, which would be great.
Nice to see that return.
Yeah, and obviously they've gone to like sort of like an original art style as well. It seems like they're focusing more on making that game what it should be rather than making that game for money, which is sort of hit and miss with Microsoft. Sometimes they make some incredible games, then other times it just seems like
phoned in.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you expect? But that's really interesting. I mean, there's still not too much shown on Halo 6, unfortunately, is there?
No, I've only ever seen like a little teaser of him holding his helmet down by his side, and that's it, pretty much.
But at least that's some good news to come out of it.
Exactly.
I mean, because it was like loads of people were rumouring it, weren't they?
There was a lot of rumours about the Battle Royale, and he finally announced it. He said the only BR that we're entertaining is the Battle Rifle, and I was like, yes!
That is how you answer that question.
Yeah, shut them down, shut them up.
Yeah. But that's pretty much it mainly this week for news. There's a couple of like interesting bits, but nothing like too big and too stand-outy. The only other thing that I can really think about is Super Mario Maker has literally 5 minutes ago just been given it's just been announced that it's coming June 28th. So there you go. If you waited on to the end of the podcast, you got a nice little bit of an update there. If you didn't know it already.
That's like breaking news.
Yeah. Yeah, stop everything you're doing.
Yeah.
This is coming out, which is great. April's been quite a solid month. Few good games, few returns of some old classics, and World War Z. That's it. That's it. I'm just looking forward to Days Gone now. I'm looking forward to seeing what that has to offer. We're going to get Sekiro finished as well this weekend. Finally. It's not taken too long at all. And then we'll get a review of that out. And then the other thing we're going to talk about in a future video is the top disappointing game of 2018, which is probably going to come as no surprise. But I'll go into a little bit more of an in-depth description as to why it was my most disappointing game.
I have to pick out mine one.
Yeah? We'll do one each.
Yeah.
And we can compare and see which one's the worst one out of the two of them. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, that's good.
Right. That's pretty much it from us. And then you've got anything to add?
No, we're good.
No, we're all good. So thank you for listening to the Charge Attack podcast. Feel free to follow us on Twitter. Subscribe. That's what people say, isn't it? Subscribe. Twitch as well, yeah.
Follow us on Twitch.
Follow us on Twitch.
There's some hilarious Sekiro moments on there. So
yeah, there are some proper funny moments. And that's it from us. Thank you very much.
See you in the next one.
See you in the next one.